Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, June 29, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. With the judgment for the election petitions set to be handed down tomorrow, head of the legal team for the respondents, Queen's Counsel Anthony Astafan, has said he will still advocate the need for a waiver in the Court of Appeal to rectify what he terms as a grave injustice. Astafan explained that in an earlier case, Justice Brian Cuttle called into his chamber the legal teams for the petitioners headed by Queen's Counsel Stanley John and the respondents, which he heads. He said that behind closed chamber, both legal teams agreed that they had confidence in Brian Cuttle's decision. Astafan said that he and Justice Cuttle were blindsided when, after his ruling, Queen's Counsel John refused to accept the decision and claimed that Justice Cuttle was biased. The legal head for the respondent, however, noted that the waiver he put into the appeal court on Tuesday is not intended to affect the judgment in the ruling to be handed down by Justice Esco Henry tomorrow.
Senior counsel of several years at the bar, for a judge to give the opportunity to counsel to object to him, then blindside him with an appeal on the question of bias, and then argue to the court that waiver don't matter because the election is this and paramount importance that, and therefore the court should set aside the ruling and send it back to another judge, despite the fact that they said the judge had confidence in the judge to hear the matter. I mean, I don't know how your listeners will view that. I view that with a very, very bad taste in my mouth, and I think I need to go back to the court to have that rectified, the Court of Appeal to have that rectified. Otherwise, I will not be able to live with my conscience. To participate fully without objection, having been invited to object, and then blindside the judge and with an allegation of bias, and the Court of Appeal accepting it without regard to the facts relating to waiver. I feel extremely strongly about that. If the court turns me down, then so be it, but at least I've given it a shot, because I think it's in the interest of justice that was done.
Astafan said that he looks forward to the ruling and believes that the NDP is playing games with the justice system.
I'm hoping for a favorable response, at least the opportunity to address the court on it. Now, this is not to affect the judgment on Friday. We made it clear to the Court of Appeal that this application that we are filing is not intended to stop the judge from delivering her judgment or anything of the kind. So we have to wait on the judgment. Having said all of that, I look forward to the ruling on Friday. I wish all goes well. I am not going to mimic the NDP and say it's just democracy requires that, because I think democracy and the rule of law required the NDP not to have played games with the court and to have brought these things to closure a very long time ago.
And opposition member of parliament for North Leeward and first vice president of the NDP, Roland Patel Matthews, believes that a ruling in favor of the petitioners tomorrow will be a good thing for the Vincentian people. Matthews, who was on Nice Radio today, said that the NDP will continue to fight for democracy, as the judiciary must never be undermined, and having free and fair elections is a right.
It is a defining moment in our history. It is something that will left a mark on our country once and for all. Anyway it goes, tomorrow is D-Day, or I would say P-Day, Petition Day tomorrow, where the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I am confident about that we will get the go-ahead in this matter, because it is something that will redeem us as a people. We have to. The petitions must be allowed to be heard. Why is the government that has the resources of the country, we're not doing anything in agriculture, we're not moving forward in tourism, our health service is in shambles, but the government is bent and holding on to power?
Matthews sounded the call for all persons, not just supporters of the NDP, to come out tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the High Court in Kingston to hear the judgment which he believes will go in the petitioner's favor.
Tomorrow, We, the members of the New Democratic Party, and Vincentians at large are eagerly anticipating what the result of the petition is going to be. And hence we have been making a call to all Vincentians, not just those who support the NDP, but those who support St. Vincent and the Grenadines and believe in democracy, to come into Kingston to listen or to be a part of history, regardless to how you take it. It is part of history. So first time I know it in my lifetime that you would have something so eagerly anticipated as the result of the case tomorrow. So we're asking people to come out in the numbers.
Food handlers here are being encouraged to utilize the knowledge learned to ensure the health and safety of the public. The encouragement comes from Marchant Scotland, Environment Health Officer, as she spoke with SVG-TV News today via the telephone on initiatives the Public Health Department has been engaged in to boost the capacity of food handlers here. Whilst highlighting the dates of upcoming training sessions, Scotland stated that food handlers will be trained in a number of areas in relation to food safety. She is encouraging all to use the information gained to help keep the public safe and healthy.
We've been undergoing a series of training educational sessions with our food handlers, reminding them on food safety. We are now wrapping up our sessions, where our last two sessions will be held on the 4th and 5th of July. On the 4th is just one session, 9 o'clock in the morning, and on the 5th, two sessions, one at 9 o'clock in the morning and one starting at 1 p.m. So those two sessions will conclude our food handler training for the second half year of 2017 for food handlers in Kingston and for persons for the carnival season. Food safety is everybody's business, but for our food handlers in general, we're asking them to practice what they're being taught and keep food safe at all times.
Scotland added that the department will also be taking a proactive approach in relation to food safety during the carnival season, noting that officers will be on the ground to monitor food handlers.
During the carnival, we will have our staff who will do what we say overtime inspections, because most of these persons will be operating out of our normal working hours of 8 to 4. So we'll have a team of workers who will be working through the night on the streets, monitoring these food operators who are operating for the carnival season. The establishments, these are being inspected throughout the year, and we have those monitored.
Also speaking with SVG-TV News was Neary James, Chief Environment Health Officer, who called on Vincentians to take a proactive approach in ensuring that the source of their food is of high standard.
A source of food should be from someone who is actually practicing safe food hygiene. In terms of their dress, their handling of food, their access to toilet and pipe-borne water. Another thing is for persons who are actually eating on the street to eat hot food hot and also cold food cold. So like pilau or any cooked food, make sure that it is being served to you hot, and at that time you eat it hot. For salads, make sure that it is served to you cold, and you also eat it cold.
The Chief Environment Health Officer took the opportunity to appeal to Vincentians to engage in good, clean fun in relation to their litter practices during the carnival season. James said at this time, the Public Health Department is stepping up all its public health work, particularly in relation to food safety, vector control and sanitation. He, however, noted that whilst the department is doing its part, persons need to act responsibly in relation to their litter practices.
Going forward, although we are actually doing it, we are asking persons to be responsible and to avoid litter in our streets. Okay, so they must act responsible. We also have a vector control program where we The reason for it is because we know that there will be lots of waste in town, and as a result of that, it is highly likely that we will have more pests. Well, we have a program in town where we actually monitoring the pests and actually controlling them.
Digicel today announced the launch of its home internet service in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The announcement comes as the company continues to expand its corporate footprint across the business districts, serving over 55 corporate customers since it began offering internet service here. The company's business solutions manager, Carlin Brown, said there is a growing demand for reliable home internet service in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, noting that of late, the general public has become increasingly dissatisfied with the quality of the service being provided. He said as the needs of the internet customer today evolved, service providers also need to adapt and be current amidst the changing ICT landscape. Brown said Digicel is constantly evolving and is ready to meet the ICT needs of the Vincentian public. Welcome to Carnival Beat. The Yulupan movement is one step closer towards achieving its main goal of steel pan development after signing a memorandum of understanding earlier today with the UK Vincentian Association. President of the UK Vincentian Pan Association, Jacqueline Roberts, explained that steel pan is a significant part of this nation's culture and reiterated the need for its development.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines has a unique cultural and tourism product to export worldwide. And its cultural tourism, the cultural steel pan instrument is key to what we do. And I hope through, and I'm sure through this MOU and the work that we do and deliver will be part of that unique cultural tourism product. In the Caribbean, in the West Indies, we have a limitation on the steel pan instrument in terms of the development, and I'm talking about the development of human capital, musicianship, and administration. The key we have to address here, and through the MOU we will start with a flagship with the Yulupan movement, is how we train, how we upskill our musicians. The shortages of tuners and pan makers, you know, how are we going to address that? And I think through a memorandum of understanding we will be able to do so.
Expressing gratitude for what she considers a partnership, President of the Yulupan movement, Onika Morgan, said she has a vision for the organization, which she is convinced can be propelled by the signed MOU.
The signing of this MOU symbolizes a partnership, and we share the feeling of excitement and optimism that as we think of the possibilities that can come from this partnership. We're here to encourage and support one another in pursuing excellence in steel pan music and fostering leadership in pan. Objective to facilitate and enhance possibilities for business development, cultural and social exchanges, training and other development initiatives within the pan sector. To collaborate in research and development of the steel pan instrument, emerging steel pan musicians, practitioners and other professionals within the sector. To showcase musical works to a global audience and to support the global steel pan music sector. And last but not least, to initiate and deliver in partnership for mutual benefit an exchange of skills, training with musicians visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the UK, and the development of accreditation for pan players, tutors, and tuners.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves, who was also on hand, said the signing of the MOU symbolizes the foundation of a successful Art4.
Pan used to be seen as an activity only for the lawless and for the poor. and working people, and it was tinged with lawlessness. In fact, I'll tell you the story. In the villages, and Pest will know this, when you have Christmas coming on, and you have people playing in 9 mornings, and they put the pan around the neck and they beat in, and when you hear pan clash, you invariably had...
It's about time that Vincentians put their claim to Raga Soca, which is unique to the Vincentian culture and 100% Vinci. That's the view of President of the Calypso Association, Earl Cabba Bennett.
We continue to promote Calypso. And I want to stick up in here because there's this big debate of what is Calypso. As far as the Calypsonian Association is concerned, Calypso embraces all 3 genres. So as far as we're concerned, what people refer to as traditional Calypso, we call it Kaiso. The smooth part of Calypso, we call it Raga Soca. And the powerful one, as its name suggests, we call it Power Soca. I want to hasten to add here as well that as the Calypsonian Association, we are laying claim to Raga Soca. We are saying the birthplace of Raga Soca is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Trinidad is credited for pan invention. We are taking credit. So when you hear Groovy Soca, that is just somebody putting another name on what is ours, Raga Soca.
Bennett further noted the improvement in the Calypso arena, particularly with participation, which he said has jumped to an all-time high.
We had 92 Calypsonians participating in the preliminaries. Onto had 28 Calypsonians. Upstairs Experience had 22. Graduates had 18. Prophets 13. And Dynamites, the lone tent in diaspora, 11. Of that, the judges had to select 22. I want to make special mention here of a number of ladies who participated this year in the preliminaries. We had 15 ladies. We had 9 from the Upstage Experience, 3 from Onto, 2 from Graduates, and a lone female from Dynamites. Amazingly, 7 of the 9 artists in the Upstage qualified or advanced to the semi-finals, as we call Fantastic Friday. And I think we need to recognize woman power and give them a round of applause.
The Calypso Association's president took the opportunity to invite persons to Dimajgar on July 10th at Carnival City Victoria Park, which he said is an event which persons would not want to miss.
We have seven former monarchs that will compete on Friday night. Who are those monarchs? We have very Britain Skiggs, 3-time monarchy. We have Abijah and we have Ipa. They hail from the Onto Calypso tent. We have Sule, 2-time Calypso monarch, and we have Tajo. They are from the Graduates. We move to Upstage and we have the lone female, Fire Empress, and then we have the Stingerman, Scorpion. Added to that, in terms of guest artists, we have the history-making Zangi, the only person to have won a Patrick victories during the 40 years of Vinci Mass. And then we have Sipi, who also have 3 titles. Interestingly, whosoever win the Monarch on the 9th of July will be winning the 40th title. Yes, it is our 40th anniversary, and if all things being equal, it will have been the 44th. But because of Sufra in 1979, we had no carnival. So the person who wins will be our 40th monarch.
As part of their continued efforts to sensitize the Vincentian public on measures to ensure their personal safety, especially during the festive season, the SVG police force is urging persons to take their own safety seriously. In an interview with SVG-TV News earlier this week, head of the Major Crimes Unit, Inspector Atlan Brown, noted that a lot of petty crimes are often committed during the carnival season and outlined a few ways in which persons can ensure their own safety.
Leaving home as well. Make sure your valuables are in a secure place, your home is properly secured, your place is properly trimmed, you have some lighting on, some sort of radio on. You would also, as again inform somebody where you go and make sure your cell phone is properly charged, at least. It have enough juice, as some persons. So in case something happens to you, you can make a call. Accustomed to yourself, you know yourself. You're accustomed, if you go out with friends, you would take, say, for example, 2 glasses of drinks. Don't go out now and drink 5 and 6 glasses because you're going to turn over. And we don't want that to happen to you. You might find you have 4 vehicles in your home and 4 persons going out. Maybe you can use 2. Now, if you use 2 vehicles and you leave 2 at home, persons may want to think that's actually somebody's home. That you parked in an area that is sort of properly lit, so that if somebody tries to break into your property or your vehicle, somebody would probably sound the alert. And we will be having police officers on the ground to curb the situation, in plain codes, that is. If you go out and you leaving home and you notice the road is clear, and on your return you notice that there's a sort of blockage in the road, I would advise you to come off your vehicle.
Reminding vendors of the no bottle policy, Brong added that even vendors have to do their part to ensure that they are not victims of petty crimes.
Vendors who actually are selling items, they want to make an honest living, and in their rush to earn a living, they would take monies from different persons without actually looking at what they have. Now, one of the ways that you can assist yourself in not being thieved by persons as it is you can feel the currency. The texture is actually different than the real one. You got to look at the serial numbers. No 2 serial numbers are actually the same. So if you see somebody bringing bulk of $20 to you, look at the numbers. They would be different. Always have a light so that you could see what is going on around you. In terms of the US currency, we will actually get help if we face that sort of problem. So,
condemning the act of defacing public buildings, the inspector also issued a warning to persons who incite the use of fireworks or torches during events. He further urged persons to continue to work with the RSVG police force in curbing crime and violence in SVG.
The number is 4562906. That's police headquarters. 4562906. 24 hours somebody is there at that line, and they would filter through the information to the relevant persons. We're asking the DJs who seems to be promoting these intolerable things to desist from doing it. Now, it's really an incitement on your behalf if you do it, and it carries a penalty phase of 3 months in prison if anyone is caught actually inciting persons to light fire and use explosive around those carnival season. Now, the person who actually, he or she does it, they also can be sentenced to 3 months in terms of using fireworks and explosives and paint up government building. I mean, these ventures are really expensive, so we're asking persons to kind of desist from doing that. I mean, it's carnival, but we don't want these unnecessary things to happen. Public places, public buildings as urinals, they go on there and they're doing it. These are penalty phase offenses, and they're summary offenses, but you can be fined and be in prison. So we don't want that to happen, because what it does is it's actually sending a bad signal to us. Because if you go to, like, say, a country outside St. Vincent, you find persons tend not to practice this sort of stuff.